You know, it's almost like your birthday with a package from China, so let's go. So you can order this thing just like the GKD Mini Plus, but you can also order it with the case and the upgrade. And I can tell you already, this mini upgrade dock is absolutely worth the money because it makes this thing so much more comfortable. So first of all, I really love the brand, the way how the quality is, especially when it comes to the previous models. But the unfortunate thing is with the previous model, it was absolutely late to the party. So when it was released, it was completely underpowered, and besides having very nice quality, I found it a little bit of a bummer. So when the first time I was holding this in my hand, I noticed that it's quite similar to the previous model. So it is purely not a cosmetic, but a hardware upgrade. And that's good, because I really love the way how this thing looked. The only downside I found about it is the way how you need to hold it. The positioning, it's not, let's say, the worst console ever, but the way just how it played was not perfect. And with the mini dock, oh boy, I am so happy they giving you the option to buy it. Yeah, to be honest, you should buy it, because makes this thing so much better. There is a metal version out there I love to review here on the channel. So they implemented some extra rubber for giving it a very nice slide with a resistance. And this is basically his final form, the ultimate fusion. And oh man, this is so much better, because now you can actually hold it over here. We even have an additional two buttons, I mean joysticks. I have brain farts all night. And we can just use it if you want to play these games. Nevertheless, the D-pad is absolutely on the right position, and this is just great. Also, when you want to use the back buttons, everything can be reached fairly easy, and that's due of the very nice round shape. I think the metal case is just one, let's say, device and not the fusion possibility. But I think it's absolutely a big upgrade, and now it's absolutely the Plus edition. But let's do a quick overview of the device. So first of all, the D-pad. So it comes with a very nice curve, not unusual that we have seen before, but also the touch itself. It is not a very long traveled D-pad, and just the feedback of this thing, it is absolutely amazing. I love this. But how about the D-pad with fighting games? I can tell you that the feel, the resistance is absolutely perfect. They nailed it with this particular handheld, and I think that's one of those key features I just love about this thing. It's great, but also when it comes to the overall performance of the emulation, it's just absolutely great. Yep, I love it. That makes me, like, again, excited. And in combination with the extra piece of plastic they attach under it, or the docking, it is more comfortable, and yeah, it's just absolutely amazing to play these games. The A and B buttons are very tiny, and normally I hate this, but when you're just feeling it like this is more like my wicked test. I'm going to feel ASMR, and you can just feel that it is absolutely great. And the reason why, because of the, let's say, the shape of the buttons, there's a little bit of wiggle to it, but not, let's say, cheap wiggle. And the way how it feels and how it presses is absolutely great. I love it. I'm in love with these buttons. Let's do this for 5 minutes. In the middle, we're going to get micro switch buttons and 2 buttons, and most of them are mapped to certain, let's say, navigation things in the software itself. I already mentioned that we're having 2 joysticks. Both have the click, similar to the Nintendo Switch, and at the bottom we're going to having the Type-C, and then we're having the jack out. At the left we're going to have extra buttons, and at the top we're going to also having 2 SD cards. So first of all, what I find very interesting but also strange, yeah, they have their own freaking SD cards. We have the GameKD SD card, that is the firmware, and yep, they're using the same crappy brandless crap. Oh, I really hate it. I wish they're just using Samsung or other brands from China that are not getting corrupted out of nothing. But you always need to make a backup of these things. So one of the familiar chips we're seeing here is the ROG chip, the 3566. So we have some minor differences between handhelds, but they're mostly coming with a quad core. This is actually running 1.8 GHz, a 3.5 inch display with a resolution of 640 by 480 and 3000 mAh battery that will give you around 6 up to 8 hours of game time depending what you're playing, and we do have different connections. But one of the cool features of this device is that we're having these very nice LEDs indicating the battery life. So it's charging now, so let's charge it before we're going to be going any further with the video. But it's also a very cool thing to show you over here. And what I also find really cool, that they are not super bright and very annoying. So after a couple of hours of charging, it's finally fully charged. But let's take a close look at the menu itself. So pressing the shoulder buttons, you can change between the kind of subjects or different kind of programs or the folders. So it's kind of similar to the Open Dingo situation back in the day with the first generation of these devices. But you can choose an emulator and boot it up like this. It's going to be a lot of hassle. But what I do find kind of cool, to be honest, if you go to booting up the emulation station over here, the front end, pressing A, it will basically give you a very nice front end. And it will bring you from, let's say, the main menu to the front end, and this part we can choose your games. I already booted up a couple of times, so it will boot up quite fast, but the first time it will take some time. Let's say a minute or two. But in here we're finding all of the emulators that we can actually play with this thing. The support is similar to different devices that we've seen before, like Embernick and PowKitty. Those devices have all kinds of, let's say, Bottle Zero or Alec device software on it, and this is nothing different. In here we're finding all kinds of cool devices like the Game Boy Classic all the way up to Sega Dreamcast. In this video I will test out some old school games, but I particularly want to check out some Sega Dreamcast and PlayStation Portable and N64 of course. But with specifications like this, we're not going to have a lot of, let's say, overall great performance. The downside also is with this particular one, some have extra folders attached to it, but everything is in an Asian language. When it comes to some PlayStation 1. And I can tell you, this runs absolutely great. It's a native resolution, but I think it's not a big of a deal whatsoever. Joystick is mapped from the emulator itself. Next up, some Sega Dreamcast, but I just wanted to showcase that also some of the emulators have been set to the analog stick, so that works pretty damn great out of the box. But how is with the overall emulation performance? The reason I always choose Dead Alive, besides I love Dead Alive too, it's that this is a great overall, let's say, test how it will run. For Dreamcast, we do have amazing overall performance. But when it comes to overall emulation of the Dreamcast, it's absolutely amazing, and we do get some great overall performance, what I find really pleasant, because this is one of my favorite systems to play on the go. In combination with the display, it's absolutely great. No stutters whatsoever, great D-pad, nice comfortable handheld. So let's take a close look at some PlayStation Portable, and where this system does have overall okay performance, take consideration that not every single game will run perfectly. So Wipeout is absolutely one of my favorite games to play on PlayStation Portable. This needs frame skip set to 1, otherwise it is absolutely, in my opinion, playable. And still, if you're having frame skip set to 1, you will find some minor hiccups here and there. And when it comes to Wipeout, it completely ruins the fun in my opinion. The GKD is absolutely an improvement when you're looking at the previous models. But is it again late to the party? I think it's just on time. With all of the cool things, let's say, you're having with this particular device. It's a nice quality device, but you really need to have that freaking docking. Otherwise, it's not going to be very comfortable to play. The overall quality of the display is great. And just the features and all of the overall quality of the products, I do like it. Especially the D-pad, because, oh man, I love this thing for that. Thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, and it will be great to see you in the next video.